Hello, this is Ken Ferrie with this week's Boots in the Field report. Yield reports are still coming in slow. Most of the ones coming in, though, are pretty strong. Guys are looking at yields 20 to 50 bushel above APH. A lot of early planted beans in the mid 70s to low 90s. I expect the yields to stay strong in most areas, but we are seeing the effect of the dry weather in some fields with light soils or things like compaction. Some bean fields are showing the signs of stress with small beans. We got the pods, but the beans are small. In the dry area on that drought map, we're seeing some 60 and 65 bushel beans. I think this hot, dry stretch will work against our later planted beans that we're trying to fill as the water got tight. Corn is faring better if the crop was healthy coming into the dry weather and the heat. Fields with compaction layers or were deficient in nitrogen coming into the dry weather and the heat, they kind of fell apart pretty fast. These fields gave their all to try to make black layer, and that caused them to succumb to top kill and stalk rots early. So it's important for scouts to start doing the push test in these fields and monitoring stalk quality. These fields have ears with what I would say are rubbery tips. These are light kernels on the tip as this plant was pushing it to get done, and we're going to need to watch those light kernels to make sure they don't amount to harvest loss, that we get them off the cob and we don't blow them out the back. This summer we did yield checks, and early on in the summer we divide by 90 to get the low yield and divide by 70 to get the potential high yields, give us an estimate range. And as we got deeper into the fill season, we started using 70 and 80 in our kernel counts to set that range. These fields with early top kill, aphids, and deficiency green snap are looking like they're going to end up in that 80 to 85,000 kernel bushel range based on the early harvest results. Now that quickly pulls a 240 bushel cornfield down to 210. Now the corn that's still green and taken forever to get to black layer, I think it's going to be closer to the 70,000 kernel count. Now the yields are still respectable in these dry areas, but man, a 2-inch rain the end of August would have pushed them over the top. The rain will help in many ways. Beans that are still filling, especially those double crop beans, and corn that's still filling. For many, though, it has come too late. It'll help knock some leaves off these beans and give us a chance to put some moisture back in those 8% beans. We'll want to chase that moisture in these dry beans because they won't last for long. The moisture will definitely improve some of the fall jobs, tillage and especially strip till. So it won't be like dropping a strip till applicator in a parking lot. This moisture, though, will accelerate stalk quality issues in this corn, especially any fields that were stressed at the end. It'll be important for scouts to start doing the push test to put together a schedule for the harvesters. I'm seeing crown rots from the bottom up and stalk rots from the top down in these stressed fields. I know no one wants to dry this crop, but it's a lot better than picking it up off the ground, and this crop's still got a lot of good potential to it, so we need to stay on top of the harvest schedule. As the leaves fall off these seed beans, scouts need to watch for pod feeding. We don't want to lose the seed premiums to something like a stink bug or beetle feeding on the pod. Getting calls and cutting fertilizer rates this fall. Guys are wondering how much to cut, how to do it. The first thing I'm going to say is not to get caught up in the fire sale mentality, where you're making emotional decisions based off the coffee shop or the internet noise. When a grower calls in and he wants to cut rates, but he has no numbers in mind, he's in the fire sale mode. He doesn't know what he's spending now, and he doesn't know how much he wants to cut. He just wants to cut something. Try to make a more controlled approach, or try to take a more controlled approach at reducing input cost. First, know what your current program is costing you. Then come up with the target that you want to get to make your cash flow work. Once you have the number, let your soil test do the talking. The soil test will tell you if you can cut fertilizer costs 10, 20, 50% without dinging the yield short term. Now remember, in our fertility program, when we're building fertilizer levels in lower testing areas, we usually do it ahead of the soybeans. So if you say, I'm just going to cut out all my bean spreads, you're going to be cutting out the lowest fertility in the field. It definitely works better to scale back your corn fertility program for most fields. And also remember, applying less than removal will lower soil fertility, and it will need to be reckoned with when the profitability stabilizes. Most of your farms are in a good place where you can lean them out without damaging yield short term. That's the power of knowing your fertility. On new farms or poor fertility farms, it gets a little tougher to pull back without adjusting your yield goals. Remember, soil pH is where we start. Don't be too quick to pull lime out of that program. Now, you guys managing your 4R fertility, especially with planter fertility, man, you're going to be able to pull back without much threat to the yield. Now, we can help you through this process, but we need real numbers to work with, not just emotions. There's a big difference from taking $20 out of the program or $120. There are other places to cut cost as well, like conventional seed and tillage. We can help you decide how much you can pull back on a field basis. Some growers have enrolled their farms in the Army program where we're given an amount of money to spend across multiple farms. Now this is a little more detailed and we need some time to turn these around. So don't wait till the end before you put your fields in the Army program. The crews are out testing. The fall acres are ready, so don't forget to call them in as you take them out. To stay up to date, check out our website at croptechinc.com and subscribe to our podcast, Boots in the Field Report. Keep her safe, keep her moving.